Hartford went from one of the wealthiest and most sort of culturally prominent cities in the country to one that was increasingly poorer and poorer and poorer as people moved out of the city. And investments were not made in the city to make up for that and to draw more people in of mixed incomes.
I ain't even write rap. I was planning on how I was gonna get back to this motherfucking money. We need more Narcan for the trap. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. 2 white licks passed out in the back. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. Might lose one off this batch if we don't get more Narcan in this trap. Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. Narcan in the trap. This ain't what the clowns like. If Black Thought so fentanyl, this is what it would sound like.
You know, as part of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw many people leaving places like New York City and coming to Connecticut and putting tremendous pressure on the housing market in Connecticut, driving up prices and making housing too expensive for many lower income families. We also saw an eviction crisis that put people on the street and all kinds of upheaval in the job market. So, you know, among other factors, those 3 things are a big part of why we see an increase in homelessness.
My name is Regina. I'm 28. I'm from Hartford. I'm from the South End. I'm a mother. You know, just trying to make it out here. It's real difficult. If we're being honest, this is a documentary. I'm fucking homeless. My mom played me. I got a daughter. Figuring it out.
Hey, how long you been homeless?
It's been a couple of months. I want to say like since January, to be real. The system is fucked up, you know, going through the 201 process. It's supposed to be a state for women and children, but they make it difficult, and you know, so every day I figure it out. I got a job, you know, I pay for hotel rooms, I ask people to stay over, you know, just so that my daughter is not in a situation where I get her taken away, because I actually give a fuck about my child.
Right.
I'm not on drugs or anything, really just got burnt by my mother, so I'm out of a place.
Day to day, like what's the hardest part about just maintaining?
Just being a mom and just like thinking like, damn, you gotta take care of somebody else in this situation right along with yourself. So I want to say that, and just like figuring out little stuff, especially when you homeless and you still still gotta pay for daycare, you know, on top of just, you know, just figuring it all out, you know, just being a mom and really being in this situation.
Yeah. How is it like finding different places to stay, or you just staying in one spot as far as like the Super 8?
I stayed at the Super 8, stayed at the Travel Inn, stayed at the Madison Inn in East Hartford. Just been moving wherever is cheap, you know, just trying to, you know, have a place to stay, because if I don't got a place to stay, they take her. Nah, I look crazy, you know. just asked the people if I could just, you know, stay on the couch, or like I asked my sister to, you know, take my baby a couple of times. I paid her for the night, you know what I'm saying? And I figure it out, you know? You know, there's times where I done slept outside, but she was straight. You know, that's just how I just maneuver, and you know.
Yeah. Talk to me about like sleeping outside. Like, what type of experience was that? I know, like, it had to be a traumatic experience. I know you ain't even have your daughter with you.
Nah, it was like real stressful. It was at the time it was cold. It was freezing rain that day, and it was just cold as hell that night. I had to bundle up. I just stayed at the bus station trying to keep myself alert because I had my phone and everything on me. And it was just like real hard because like I'm thinking like, what my daughter doing? I just want to be next to her. I want to be the best person for her. And I'm in this situation based off of, you know, somebody else. And it's fucked up. But at the end of the day, I feel like you gotta keep progressing. You know, you can't just stay in a bad spot, because then my daughter gonna see that. She's at an age where she's young. She don't know nothing, and I like the fact that she don't know that we in this situation. So I'm just trying my best to just get up out of here.
What would you say to somebody like before you was homeless? I'm sure you didn't have this perspective of being outside. Like, what would you tell people?
You know, I would still tell them, like, you know, get your shit together any way that you can. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, not to depend on people too much, but get the right resources so that you could get yourself out of this situation.
And like being outside, like how have you how has your like perspective of Hartford changed?
A lot. Like, you know, because you tell people you're in a situation, they automatically think that you on drugs, or, you know, you just can't manage your money, and, you know, stuff like that. People really, like, you tell them one thing, and it's like, you know, I feel like they take advantage in a way because they feel like you need something, or like you need, like, I don't have people play me based off of just they feel like I just need a place to stay, so now I'm doing X, Y, and Z. You know, it's real fucked up. People treat you different, and, you know, I done heard it all, like, you know, especially when I slept outside, niggas thought I was a crackhead. I don't even do drugs, you know what I'm saying? People just perceive it different. It's just like real fucked up, you know?
The perception. Yeah,
the perception is like real fucked up, because, you know, some people are on drugs, and then some people just like really fucked up. Life is like really just, you know, fucked them up. And it's just like real fucked up. Like, I have a better perspective on people. I don't just automatically just judge, you know what I'm saying?
How has COVID impacted being homeless?
A lot. They shut down shelters, especially family shelters, to help women. You know, there's no real resources. You can't just like get stuff like, you know, immediately. So everything is like shut down. So now I'm just making the best. Like, there's literally no resources. All the resources got scrapped right along, like right when COVID hit. Everything. That's it's absolutely crazy. There's no resources.
Are you vaccinated?
Yes.
Was that like, did you get vaccinated before?
Nah, I just got, when it got to this point, I realized I was just gonna be around about a whole bunch of people, and I was at a warming center, and you know, they just allow anybody to go there, and I was just around a lot of people. They were giving it out for free. I was like, fuck it, I'd rather protect myself and protect my daughter, since we just gonna be around a whole bunch of people. So that's what I made the decision. She's young, and I don't want to get her sick, or, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
Homeless people aren't that stereotypical, oh, they on drugs. Like, it's literally like people lose their jobs. People get kicked out, and they just end up out here. And it's hard in the streets, so they need a vice, and then they turn to whatever it is they choose to turn to.
We're in the car for a week because we were staying, well, kind of squatting in this house in where is it, in Windsor Locks, and literally the cops were coming to our house. They didn't have a case, nothing, and they basically just came there to kind of scare us out, saying they knew I was on skip, we had a dealer living with us, and you know, trying to basically get me to talk. You know, I know my shit, so I told them, you're lucky I opened the door. Like, you don't have a warrant. Kick them out. We left for like a day, stayed at a hotel because, you know, it kind of spooked us. And we get back, there's padlocks all over the door. They left our cat inside. It's a whole nother shit. So we broke in, got the cat, and we ran to this other dealer, like this old friend of mine. Oh, out there. Okay, so the landlord. We started there because he and my boyfriend was living there for like 3 years, legally, and then the landlord passed away. He was old, like he had dementia, alcoholic, Bob, and so his daughter, like they had this house, they owned it, so I think the daughter owned it after that, and she was also an alcoholic and kind of wasn't really around. I don't know, we weren't really paying anything, but they can't evict us because we had been there for so long. So that's just kind of how we ended up with that. And there was another couple there who was doing the same thing I was doing. And then obviously, we have our dude there. It was kind of like a weird company, like a little illegal company, and it lasted for quite a while. But obviously, neighbors complain and shit. It always ends that way. You settle somewhere, you get used to it, it feels like home. But like living like this, it's always gonna end the same.
I was homeless when I came back. I got caught up in getting high, shooting dope, smoking crack, drinking. With 2 kids, became homeless. I stayed at my sister's place. So I stayed there for a while. And I did the bouncing back between down south, West Virginia and here. And I finally, my daughter was born. My daughter was born in 91, and in 91 I put everything down. It was something about my daughter. I didn't want my daughter to go through the things that I went through.
That's your first daughter?
Yeah. I also have 2 sons, but my 2 sons was born first. They were in the shelters with me. When my daughter was born, that's when I stopped. She was 7 months old, and I gave up the high cost of low living. And I haven't looked back. Into a 5-day detox, and that was it. By the grace of God.
What's your name?
Remy.
How did you become homeless?
How?
Yes.
Basically, I had some difficulties with my brother at my apartment. I had my own apartment, and I have had one since I have been an adult, but I allowed him to move in, and then there were some type of issues between us, and he basically told me I had to leave my own apartment, or he was going to invite the police.
And how long have you been homeless?
About 4 months.
Do you use any drugs?
Yeah.
What kind of drugs?
I use fentanyl and crack regularly.
About how many times a day do you smoke?
It varies day to day, but most times I smoke probably very regularly, hour by hour. I mean, I would say sometimes 100 times.
Is it easy for you to get drugs?
Yes.
Do you have access to multiple dealers to get what you need?
Yes. I mean, if one doesn't answer their phone, or if I don't see them outside, I'll just go to another one.
Have you ever OD'd?
According to other sources I was told that I was narking before. An ambulance was called before. I mean, I blacked out. I kind of went crazy in a way. I don't remember it, but I was told that I was like running throughout my friend's house, trying to knock things over, take things off the wall, all types of crazy shit. I don't remember, but yeah. Even though in the papers in the hospital they said I was Narcan, but there was no dosage of the medication.
Have you lost any friends to drugs?
Yeah, I actually lost many this month alone. I have lost more friends and people I know this month than any other time in my life.
How does that affect you, knowing that they passed away from something that could possibly happen to you?
It makes me very sad, but it also doesn't worry me as much because I have a lot of hope and faith in myself that I'm gonna get clean.
For being homeless, Where do you sleep at night, and do you feel safe?
I sleep at usually I sleep at my friend's house on the north side of Hartford, but sometimes I don't sleep for days on end, and I just end up like nodding out or resting, like over here or somewhere else.
Have you been in any like really dangerous situations?
Yeah, a lot of them.
You wanna give one example?
Sure. One of the most dangerous situations I have been in at this time period in my life was when I was living in my apartment on the north end of Hartford. There were people actually coming into my house from this area also who I didn't know, and were basically refusing to leave. This one person in specific, a male, was inviting people in there, you know, using drugs, fighting, having sex, prostituting out of my house. You know, I would nod out when I would use drugs, and I would feel like I was, you know, possibly touched or violated when I was sleeping. And I didn't feel safe there at all.
Do you have any plans of trying to get back on your feet?
Yeah, I do actually, and I was very good looking, and I was very stabilized before. I had an apartment, I had income, I didn't use any type of drugs before I started using fentanyl about 2 years ago. And I started using it intentionally. I never was addicted to Percocets or any other opioids or pills. I just decided that I wanted to basically see why people thought it was so hard to get off of them. I know it sounds crazy, but at the time I thought it wasn't going to be as difficult as it turned out to be.
Got one more question. How has it affected your family members? Do they still talk to you, or?
Yeah, I mean, my mother wants me to get clean. My brother last year actually committed suicide from alcohol and Adderall use. He relapsed on it, and he ended up having a psychotic breakdown and shooting himself in the head. So I lost him. My brother was addicted to crack for a few months, and he ended up stopping and getting involved in a toxic relationship. He doesn't talk to me anymore because he feels like, you know, I use drugs, so he don't want to talk to me anymore. A lot of people distance themselves just for the simple fact that I use drugs.
Well, it's not the most desirable thing to see if you're going to be moving into a home and there's needles by the front steps, and you can see that people have been living and lurking in the area, and you know, maybe not the most desirable safe items right there at the front steps of your home or your business. It doesn't appear well.
Hey, babe.
That's because it's
Next
not.
time, can you be mindful, like pick these up, make sure.
But again, I think that's where we really need to take a deep dive into what is it that's needed then. If you're homeless,
we have little kids who
you need a home.
How did you become homeless?
I wasn't I became homeless. I don't really want to push it on no one because I have responsibility of my own actions. But my landlord and my ex-husband, they did a false lease. Dated it and signed it. And I lost my home. I didn't even know.
And how long have you been homeless?
Since April of 2021.
And since you're homeless, do you use drugs?
I do.
What kind of drugs?
You know, variety.
A variety. Have you ever OD'd from any drugs?
No.
Have you lost any close friends to drugs?
Yeah.
Have you been in any dangerous situations while being outside?
Absolutely.
You want to give any other input? What else you've been through while you've been out here?
You
go through things you never imagined yourself would go through. Things that shape you into something you didn't even know could be shaped into. You learn to live a different type of life and you adapt.
How do people treat you now that your life is upside down?
Upside down. But I earn my respect. Just because I'm in this situation, I can't allow anyone to treat me any way that belittles me, or I can't allow anyone to speak down on me as well.
Do you have any access to any resources for help for being homeless?
To be honest, I'm sure there are resources out there. I just really don't know where they are or how to find them.
Do you feel safe at nighttime when you have to go to sleep somewhere, if you go to sleep at nighttime?
No.
Hold on, watch this car right here.
Want to come back here?
Yeah.
It's real dry. My name is Carolyn. They call me Star out here. I prefer to be called Star. I'm 37.
How long have you lived in Hartford?
I've been in Hartford for about a year.
What brought you to Hartford?
It's closer to Bristol.
Is that where you from?
Yeah, I lived in Bristol for 23 years. My mom moved me to Connecticut in 97. I was 12 going on 13. I lived in Los Angeles, California before that for 10 years. I watched a bunch of shit. I watched my mom use drugs, watched my mom's boyfriend beat her up. I tried to save her a few times. Tried to save my sister from being touched, but it didn't work. It ended up, my stepfather was touching both of us at the same time. And so that's what makes me use, and that's why I'm out here right now, having a hard time dealing with it.
Are you homeless right
yes.
now? Yes. How long have you been homeless?
About a year.
About a year?
Yeah. Both my parents died, my father and my mom, in 2019, and I kind of lost it after dealing with everything and having a hard time with it. Losing both my parents at the same time, pretty much 6 weeks apart, I kind of lost it. I lost myself.
Are you a drug user? Do you use any drugs? What are you using?
I like to smoke crack. I like to smoke marijuana. That's my favorite. And I use fentanyl as like a pain management.
And how long have you been smoking crack and using fentanyl?
Oh, years. Quite a while.
And how has fentanyl kind of changed the atmosphere in the streets?
I now carry Narcan on me at all times because I never know when I'm going to be sitting with someone and they're going to OD. You know, and I try to make sure I'm around somebody at all times just in case something happens to me. And I used to not have to do that. You know, I used to be able to walk down the street and not see my friends sitting there looking like they're gonna pass. You know, it's scary.
How many times have you had to use Narcan?
Within the past month, at least 3 times. On other people, I don't usually get Narcan because I don't use as much as I used to. I'm trying to stop so I can get things back on track.
You're trying to stop using fentanyl?
Yep.
So unfortunately, a lot of services pivoted to virtual because of COVID, and a lot of folks are still not back in the office or back seeing people in person. Shelters are still running at half capacity, so we don't have as many shelter beds available. Yeah, I think everyone's just still very, very focused on COVID, which, you know, it was a very large concern, but at the same time, like, we're having more people die from overdoses.
Got burnt out in 2019, day before Thanksgiving. I was living with my niece, and people act funny with money. And I had only asked, can I, the Red Cross, can I get my own room and stuff? You know, I don't want to wait for nobody to feed me or put some drawers on me. You know, had to throw away all my clothes. Because y'all can give me a donation when y'all finna get my store.
Yeah, I got some in the car.
You want me to say my name?
Yeah, say your name. Get a little closer, so you can hear it.
My name is Patty Grant. I've been homeless since 2019. I'm trying to fight for people my age shouldn't be homeless. You know, it's hard when we get up in age, it's hard to breathe and stuff. And I've done everything they asked me to. 111, Miracle, Mercy House, or the thing about the Modest Helping Hands, CRT, Salvation Army, Mark Jenkins Spot, everything. Everything, and I'm still homeless. You know, only thing I want is a place to stay. Because I've been through pure hell for the last 2.5 years. After I got burnt down, I lost my 3 sons. So, and everybody thinks you're on drugs, you know, but they don't know what's going on with you or what you've been through.
You have any family out here that support you?
You don't want to live with your kids.
Yeah.
Because they begin to think they're your mother and father. You know, that's where I'm at. You know, people do you wrong. I don't want to go back to jail. So I have to cry it out.
How much time have you done?
I gave DOC altogether 30. My last stretch was 7 years, and for me to get out the system, I had to do a seminar for parole and probation because my story is real heavy. You know, just because you be out here don't mean you're in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I eat, you know, I do the right thing with my money. But the only thing I want is a place so I can get a peace of mind, you know? Stop being nervous because, you know, when you lose kids and stuff and you're going through tragedy, people intend to overstep their boundaries and misuse you because they think you need them. You know, I'm not in the fucking up business. So I'm gonna keep fighting for us older people. Thank y'all for my story.
Thank you.
You about to get me now?
How you doing?
I'm making it. God said we're going to a better place, so shit, let me get there, because this is pure hell to me. And if hell is worse than that, then I don't know what to say. I'm living in hell right now. Can't wait.
You want to go talk to Officer Barrett?
Oh, you want to go?
Young black dude, young brother.
Yeah. He had a camera?
Yes. Yes. He took my name.
I said a bed.
No, this
sleeper bag.
Today,
Yeah.
I need that
tell him
too.
my name, Pagani, and give him my number because I lost it in his phone.
All right.
And he already videoed me.
All right.
I want to connect with him.
This is my bed.
That's your bag.
He was going to Boston on the
So guess
Saturdays,
what?
but I haven't seen him in 2 weeks.
If I don't get no luck in the next 2 weeks, he's gonna have to come get me out the street. He'll come do that.
Yeah.
And if that's what I gotta do to get the help that I gotta get help, I understand why I wasn't in the motel last year. But since I came back, I've done everything. Everything, and I don't know why I'm not in a place. I have income. I call me 30, 30, 30. 30 years on drugs, 30 years without a job, and 30 years in prison.
Narcan for the trap. We need more Narcan for the trap. Two white lights passed out in the back. We need more Narcan for the trap. Might lose one off this batch if we don't get more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. This ain't what the clowns like. The black thoughts so fentanyl. This is what it would sound like. Gotta find this fee off a veteran hooker. Left her out in Phoenix cause I let my cousin Devin book her. We could've lost Benny at that Walmart. I was worried about my friend. Y'all was thinking about a false start. We still gon' turn rap into nice houses. Pioneering that like the first black at the White Fountain. Told Poppy Sinbad too. I'm exploring options. Line full of fiends look like Jordan's dropping. You niggas either got a mistake or a crew joke. I was wise enough to learn from what you fools spoke. She stalked me on the gram where she really could know me. My top 5, he, me, Rick, Benny, and Shelby. Shout out mama on that 10-year sobriety chip. I hope my bullshit ain't the reason her sobriety slipped. We need more Narcan for the trap. We need more Narcan for the trap. Two white lights passed out in the back. We need more Narcan for the trap. Might lose one off this batch if we don't get more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. Right back at this shit.
Go ahead. Thank my higher power for loving me, especially on those days I couldn't see. I was hostage and bondage in so many ways. I didn't want to feel that hurt and pain. Sometimes these things are very hard to say, but crack cocaine had me going insane. My mind kept racing in different ways, knowing that rock had a price to pay. The things they had me doing during the night, I didn't care and I knew it wasn't right. But my higher power kept putting up a fight. He gave me the strength to fight with all my might. Thank you for loving me. You helped me get my life set free. You blessed me with a grateful heart. I love you for this brand new start. As you teach me along the way to plan my life each and every day, I won't forget to think as well as pray. Loving you first in every way. I said thank you, my higher.
Thank you, Patty.